Hey everyone, in this video today I'm going to compare the Despicable Me and Cars franchises. I did actually put out this video before, but at the time I hadn't seen the Planes movies actually, so I was thinking, oh, I want to actually watch the two Planes spin-off films and then do the video again now that I actually have seen every movie in the Cars and Planes franchise. You got 6 Despicable Me Minions movies and then 5 Cars and Planes movies. First of all, when it comes to the highest score for each franchise, the first Despicable Me movie, unsurprisingly, has the highest score of 80%. When you look at Cars, the highest score is a 75% for Cars. That right there to me shows how impressive that initial run was from Toy Story to Toy Story 3. The fact that at worst, you get a movie like Cars or Bugs Life. They were a little bit weaker, sure, but not bad at all. Those are still good movies. Despicable Me wins the round. Next, when it comes to the lowest score for each franchise, the first Planes movie has the lowest score of 26%, whereas of Despicable Me, both Despicable Me 4 and the Minions standalone movie have a score of 56%. So Despicable Me wins this round. Then when we look at the average score for each franchise, with Despicable Me you have an average of 65.83. With Cars you have an average of 50.6. So Despicable Me wins this round. Then when we look at how much of a disparity is there between the lowest and highest score, with Despicable Me, highest is 80, lowest is 56, so gap of 24. With Cars, highest score is 75, lowest score 26, so gap of 49. The gap is smaller for Despicable Me, so Despicable Me again wins this round. So Despicable Me actually is already going to win this debate, not the Cars franchise, which I think is unfortunate because frankly I prefer the Cars franchise, and I don't get at all Planes having a lower score than Minions. Critics, what exactly is so bad about Planes? Okay, it's a direct video spin-off, sure, but besides that, what exactly about the story, characters, visuals about Planes is so bad that should be rated lower than Minions? I think Minions is obviously a bigger misfire on a conceptual level than Planes, because the Minions work well as side characters, as supporting characters. They work well when they're sprinkled into one of these movies, like how if you sprinkle salt or pepper onto your food, then your food tastes better. But are you going to eat a spoonful of salt or a spoonful of pepper? No, obviously you don't do that. Just like how you wouldn't just dump a whole bunch of salt onto your food. That's too much of a good thing. This is how it is for the Minions. You don't want a movie just about the Minions because fundamentally the Minions do not develop, they do not grow or change, they don't speak a language that's discernible to us. They literally just speak gibberish. And so it's not interesting to have a movie all about them. I think Minions Rise of Gru greatly improved upon the first Minions by adding Gru in and showing you his backstory rather than only being about the Minions. When it comes to the main Despicable Me films, I do think the biggest problem here, frankly, is that the initial premise for this franchise, the initial hook, was about a character named Gru who was a supervillain that adopted these free kids at first for selfish reasons, but then he actually learns to care about these free girls, become a father, and thus become a better person. By the time you get to the end of the first Despicable Me, that is resolved. So by the time you get to Despicable Me 2, 3, and 4, we've lost the initial premise. We've lost the initial hook of the franchise. So I think as these movies have gone on, we've just lost the plot more and more. Everything I've heard about Despicable Me 4 makes me go, yeah, I don't want to see it. I was initially thinking I might see this movie in theaters, but then after I heard about it, I was like, nope, this isn't good enough that I feel it's worthy of my money. I'm not going to pay to see it. If I was going to watch it, I'll just wait till I can watch it at home. Frankly, I don't even want to watch it at home because it feels like the movie has nothing to offer other than gags and jokes, and that's not something I'm interested in. That first Despicable Me movie has more to offer than just the minions, than just jokes. It has a strong emotional core to it as well about Gru adopting these kids, learning to care about them, becoming a better person and a father. I like that with Despicable Me 3, you introduce Gru's brother, and thus Gru is tempted into going back to the life of crime. But I don't think the third movie's as good as the first one. And then with Despicable Me 2, my biggest problem, frankly, is that while I enjoy seeing the girls gain a mother because Gru ends up marrying this lady, when you sideline Gru's relationship with his daughters, that means you're sidelining the thing that I find to be more interesting. I think Despicable Me overall has been really inconsistent quality wise. I think ever since the first Despicable Me movie, filmmakers have not really known what to do. Whereas if the Cars franchise, I find it to be more consistent. I think first Cars, solid, good movie. There are problems here. I think Lightning McQueen is a bit too unlikable at the beginning, too insufferable. The movie slows down a bit in the middle, but good. Cars 2, of course, that is a big misfire. I do think overall Minions is a bigger misfire, but Cars 2 is definitely a misfire, changing the tone so much and having Mater be the main character was a very bad decision. But I think Cars 3 was a solid return to form for the franchise that went back to what I like about these movies, and I thought it served as a good memorial and tribute to both the character of Doc Hudson as well as the actor who played him that tragically passed away before Cars 2 came out. I just actually watched the plane movies for the last few days, and I don't get why it seems like they're not liked by a lot of people. I think they're solid spin offs to the Cars movies. So I prefer the Cars franchise, but Despicable Me is going to win this debate. Bye, everyone.